Nice to be back on this Monday afternoon. Our squad will be practicing in about 25 minutes, so I'll try to keep this as short as I can. We had a good weekend out at Salt Lake City and Logan, Utah. We played, I think, 3 teams that will probably end up in the top 50 of the RPI. Started off with Cal, whose size and physicality I thought gave us some trouble. We beat them in, was it 3 or 4, Rachel? 4 sets. And a couple of them were pretty close. And so I was impressed with them. They are now going out to the ACC, which will be interesting for them, but I think they're a little bit undervalued by the folks based on the preseason rankings. And then we played the host Utes from Utah, who've got a ton of talent, and they're going to the Big 12 this year, and I think they're going to make some noise in that league. They are really, really talented. You watch them warm up, and you're not sure you can match up with them. And fortunately, it came down a little bit more of some experience and skilled positions, and we came back from the dead in the first set to win that one, and then won the second 2 fairly handily. Then we went to Logan, Utah, and played Utah State, and I didn't know this until our radio guy told us they'd won 31 of their last 34 matches in that facility, which after playing there, I could understand why. Small gym, beautiful facility, and they had it packed. Probably 40% of them were students, and they made a lot of noise, and they tried to get in the heads of our players, so it was really a good experience for us. I felt like we didn't play real well after the match was over, but we weren't quite as sharp as I expected us to be or want us to be. But when I watched it on tape that night after I got home, which was actually Sunday morning when we got back, we weren't nearly as bad as I thought in some of the areas that I was concerned about. But nonetheless, 6-0 right now, which is where I hoped we would be. But we feel like there's a lot of things at our coaching staff meeting this morning that we can really focus on to get better, and we'll start on that in about, like I say, 25 minutes. So, Sam, you want to get us going?
This week obviously offers a unique, I guess approach. It's more like an NCAA tournament feel. How valuable is this? I know it's a long time before the NCAA tournament. You've got to get there, but where you're playing and then you don't know who your next opponent is.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to know it's either SMU or Kentucky, so that allows our staff to be prepared for both of them. It's kind of like going into this past weekend. There were 3 opponents, and we had to be prepared for all of them. We played them, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We'll be prepared for all 3, but we'll only play 2 of them. But it is more like an NCAA tournament weekend for sure. Problem is, if you lose, you're not. The good thing is, if you lose, you still get to play the rest of your season. Unlike the tournament starts, you're done. But I think there are 3 really good teams. Houston, I think, went to the second round of the NCAA tournament last year. Kentucky, second, third round for sure. And SMU, I don't know what their story is, except I know they knocked off Nebraska about a week ago in 3 straight in the same building that we might play them in. So I'm excited to go down there because I watched that SMU crowd against Nebraska, and I don't know if we'll have that kind of a crowd if we play them, but Moody Coliseum was rocking down there. And so I'm excited. I've not been to SMU before, so I'm really excited to take our team to Dallas and see what happens.
Last year you'd mentioned that obviously Chloe is a phenomenal talent, but there were concerns naturally about her blocking ability being 5'9" in the Big Ten. Looked like she blocked pretty well against Utah State. I know she's got great leaping ability, but how far has she come just in her ability to recognize and to get up there and stuff shots?
Well, as anybody knows, everybody knows, I guess, that follows us, is that Chloe is a great competitor, and she doesn't like to make mistakes. And so she works really hard at any area that she needs to focus on, and blocking's one of those. We don't expect her to be the best blocker on the floor. We expect her to hold her own at the net and then make up for whatever a shortcoming she might have with the rest of her game, which is what her history has been. She's been really good at that. I think it was great for her to get some stuff blocks against Utah State, because once you feel what that is like, it makes you better. You understand, okay, this is what I need to do. I can do this. And so the problem with blocking is sometimes people just run out there and put their hands up in the air and they hope they're going to block somebody. And the mentality has to be that they believe they're going to stuff block when they go up. It just changes your whole dynamics, both physically and emotionally, of what you're doing when you block. And so, success can breed success in that area. So, hopefully that another good week of training, and she'll continue to hold her own out there against, some big blockers, or some big hitters.
Rachel Williams has been used as kind of a serving specialist, I think, for you. What has she added where, in high school she was a 6th rotation player, and at this level that wasn't going to be what she was good at? But, first of all, why do you use her in that rotation as a server when you do, and what does she add when she's out there serving?
Well, I think she's our best server. And the longer you're in this business, the more you recognize that serving is the most important skill. It remains the most important skill in the game. And you might think it would become hitting or blocking or passing, but serving still dictates so many matches. And there's a stat that we look at that is, for servers, it's point scoring. So let's say you go back and you serve 10 times in a particular game. If your team wins those rallies 7 times, then your point scoring is 70%. That would be a really high percentage. The odds are the other team will win if you're serving to them. The odds are they're going to win that rally. But we have some players whose point scoring is not high enough. And so what we'll do is we'll kind of get a feel for what that's looking like in a match or on a weekend, and we'll use Rachel to go in and play. I mean, I think our first weekend here we took Eva Hudson out of the game. And a lot of people were probably scratching their head, why would you take Eva out of the match? Well, what happened was Rachel went in and served 6 straight points in that particular match, in that set. And it kind of changed the whole dynamics of that particular match. So a great server can do a lot of things for you. Not only can she serve, she can also go in and defend. If you can only serve and go in and stand around and not make any plays, you're not going to really help your team in that rally. But she has the ability to go to serve, get in, be locked in, make some plays, help your team win some rallies as well. But she's been a real pleasure to watch her develop. She redshirted last year, so she's just a redshirt freshman, and she serves tough. And when those servers come in, they never know when they're going to come in. I think against Utah, it wasn't until the 3rd set we brought off the bench. She'd been standing over there for an hour and a half, but she went in and served bullets across the net. And that's when you know you've got a really good serving specialist.
Kenna Wallard, what has been the difference for her this year? She's hitting .360 on the season. So what has been the difference? Is it just more experience? Is there a mindset change or her approach to practice, or what has it been that?
Yeah, I think all. Thanks for the question, Rachel. I think it's all of the above, to be honest with you. She's a great athlete. I mentioned this to her before the Utah State game. I said, I remember your sophomore season in high school watching you at the, I think it was the Bluegrass tournament in Louisville. And I just couldn't believe what kind of a player she was and what she would project to as a college player. And now we're seeing that. But she's really fast. She's fast off the floor. She's fast to the ball. She jumps well. She's got a really good arm. She had to work out a few little kinks in her arm swing, I think, last year. But she seems to have a much faster arm, getting on the ball a lot quicker. She's a smart player. She's a really good individual, a good person, a great teammate. And she's only about 6'1/2". We may list her at 6'1". Whoever puts those sizes in our roster is really lenient. But they list her at 6'1", but she's a flyer. I mean, she's got a great dynamic block, swing blocking move that she makes, and then she's also quick enough to play great defense as well. So she's been a big difference maker for us. Last year and a half or 2 years, our offense behind our setter was suspect at best. I mean, we just couldn't get it. We just couldn't get much offense. Very inconsistent, both because our right side play wasn't where it needed to be offensively, and our middle was going off 1 foot. It was a crapshoot. And now we've gotten so much better in that area, and that should balance our offense a lot. take a lot of the load off of Chloe and Eva that have carried a lot of that, for over a year. So I'm really excited about that, and certainly Kenna has made a big difference with that. Yeah.
Rachel took my question, but that's all right. I'll ask another one.
Okay.
Raven Colvin, every year you want your players to get a little bit better. How has she gotten better from her junior to her senior year?
Well, she's setting the world on fire right now with the way she's playing. Again, we haven't played a top 10 team yet, but I don't think that will change when we do. I think that will just raise her level of focus and intensity. But the biggest difference is just maturity. Her ability to, I think, focus more on what she needed to do to make the team better and not what other people needed to do to make the team better. She's taken so much more responsibility of the leadership on her shoulders. She's developed a much better connection with our setter. Last year, we were kind of bouncing back and forth a little bit with two setters, a transfer, and a freshman. And if you look at her history, and I think I've got this right, but this is why we keep Rachel in the room, is I think she's had 3 different setters her first 3 years. And now, for the first time, the same setter that she used most of the time last year. And I think she's just developed so much more confidence and rapport. Of course, that setter is not a freshman anymore. She's better. She delivers a more consistent ball. She has more confidence. And I think Raven just decided that she was going to be a great player, and she wasn't going to let anything else deter that. And but I think how many blocks did she have against Utah State? 11 blocks in one particular match, which I don't know, is that a record? Really, in a 3-setter, somebody had more blocks than that? That must have been a heck of a blocker, because it was a spectacle. Now again, Utah State was playing a young lineup in that particular match, and they hit some balls low the net, which if they do, then you're supposed to block them, and we did. But Raven is just playing with a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of purpose right now.
Since you mentioned the setter, what is Taylor Anderson doing better as a sophomore than she did as a freshman?
I think just the way she carries herself on the floor. I think she just was unsure last year whether or not she was going to be good enough to make everybody happy. If she was going to be good enough to stay on the floor for a whole match without the coach making a change, because we had a couple of pretty similar setters in talent. And now I think she knows that it's her job, and that something strange would have to happen for her to step out of that position. She's gotten a lot more reps over the course of time. She's stronger. She believes in what she's doing. She has a lot of good players around her as well. I mean, we're putting a lot of good hitters on the floor that make her job a little bit better. But I think a lot of it is just mental. I think she has still so much more growth. I mean, when I look at what can make our team better, it's going to be 2 or 3 more people having this mentality that they're going to win every match, and they're going to make every play, and they're going to make more plays today than they made yesterday. Just a more aggressive mentality. I like the fact that we've got a little bit of balance. You've got these 3 or 4 really intense players on our team, so it's nice to maybe to balance that a little bit for chemistry. But there's matches where they better all be that way. In our league, they better all be that way if they want to win. And so I think she needs to take a step in that direction. Maybe she's feeling that. Maybe it's just something we don't see when we watch her, but I just assume see it. I think her teammates, would like to see her just show that intensity that I know she has. But no, she's been really, really good. She's just got a high ceiling, and as a coach, you just want her to get to that point as fast as possible, because that college career is really pretty short. Did I tell you that where we're going to play? I did. We talked about that, right? Okay. So we leave on Thursday for Dallas, come back on Saturday night, and then the following week we'll be in Kansas, Lawrence, Kansas, a return trip. Play Kansas, Creighton, who will probably be top 10 teams, I think, at that point, and then Tulsa. So that'll be the end of the non-con before we come back and have Penn State the last Wednesday in October. So thanks for being here. Boiler up. Craig was my club